Good afternoon, Professor Mogren. So I'm Krishna Lovasharin. I would like to ask you a few questions about your experience at the College of Local Administration. So you taught the Advanced Public Policy Analysis class.
That's correct.
Yes. How did that go?
I think it went very, very well. I was very pleased with the students. I was very pleased with their engagement with the material and their interest in applying the material to some very real policy issues they identified from their respective countries.
Okay. What kind of approach or strategy you used in teaching the class?
I used several approaches. One of the challenges I was most concerned about coming here is teaching a fairly complicated subject to students with whom English is a second language, and how to make sure that they were understanding the concepts, understanding the theories, and those things. So to do that, I used several approaches. There were a number of readings for each day's class that the students had to prepare for the class, and what I would do is often ask the students to teach part of that preparation. And so it was a chance to listen to them feedback and relate the material that was in the reading, and then get a sense of whether they were able to understand it or not. Plus, I think that helps people understand when they have to talk about something that they've read. So that was one approach. I'd mentioned that I had them choose a policy issue at the beginning that they were interested in studying further. And so we would apply the concepts in the book, in the theoretical discussion, and have them apply that specifically to those policy issues. So that gave them something real to anchor the concepts and the theories on. We would have in-class exercises where they would exercise some of these concepts within relation to their policy topics. And then every day or two we would stop the class and just ask the question, what have you learned from this discussion? And ask each student for their key takeaways. And this was an opportunity for critical thinking on their part, where they could say, here's what I heard, here's what I learned, and here's what and what is not applicable to my policy situation. So there's a variety of things. Plus they had written papers and an oral presentation to do as an opportunity to feed back the material they've learned in the class.
Okay, so you had like how many students? 5 students?
We started with 3 PhD students. One student, of course, had to leave for personal reasons, and we had 2 master's students auditing the class. Yes.
You said before you were impressed, you were pleased by the performance.
Right.
Could you please elaborate more on the issue about the students' performance and how did they do in class?
Right. Well, all of them were very engaged in the topic. They were very interested in the topic. And I could see that from the quality of the discussions in class. I could see that in the quality of the homework assignments they turned back in. And I could see that just in their interest in not only what they were personally doing, but what their classmates were doing. And so that set up an opportunity for very good discussions in class. I started the class with a certain hypothesis. And that hypothesis basically stated that policy development and policy selection and policy implementation is very much contextual.
Right.
And so what works in one country or in one jurisdiction or one social setting may be a complete failure in another. So we understand that. But the hypothesis was that the techniques and tools of analysis transcend that and can be applied anywhere. And we would periodically test this in class, and many of the students tested that. And I'm not sure we've proved that the hypothesis is correct. So this is still something to be evaluated and discussed. But it set up some very good critical thinking discussions with the students, which again was a reflection just of their intellect, their critical thinking, and their eventual command of the topic.
Is that something you learned from the class, and was that a challenge on your part?
I came into the class with that hypothesis, and I assumed it to be correct. I no longer assume that to be correct. So I learned that may be a very qualified, there may be a very qualified ability to apply this across different political systems. I'm not saying it's wrong, and I plan to keep that as a working hypothesis, just to be able to generate those kinds of conversations within the students, because I was very pleased with the way the conversations went.
Do you have any other challenges so far which you have confronted in Kola or in Thailand?
No, none at all. As I said, the big challenge I was concerned about was teaching students for whom English was a second language, which meant having to pace the class material to allow time for things to be digested and understood, and give them time to report back to sense and judge how well they were doing, how well they were understanding the material.
The last question: what would you tell a person or people who are interested in applying or studying at the College of Local Administration?
Right.
I mean, doing a PhD here.
I think a general comment about taking on education in any university or college outside of your own country is a wonderful opportunity, because it exposes you to different students, it exposes you to different ways of thinking, it exposes you to different cultures, and particularly for public administration or political science or any of those social science kinds of topics, it's just a way to be embedded in a different culture. What I most appreciate about KKU and COLA is the degree to which they are looking for scholars from other countries. So it's not just the students coming in and hearing from Thai-educated instructors,
right,
but they're hearing from instructors educated in a variety of different educational traditions from, you know, the United States and other parts of the world as well. And I think that's a wonderful opportunity.
Okay. And the last question here is that about the collaboration in the future between the College of Local Administration and the Hatfield School of Government.
Yes, I can say on behalf of Dr. Tammen and Dean Percy, there's a very strong interest in developing this collaboration, both in terms of sharing instructors, sharing students, perhaps collaborative research type topics, perhaps in working on some of the large theoretical problems that are facing different parts of the world, both in Southeast Asia and the United States. And I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and I know Portland State, the Portland State faculty and staff is very interested in pursuing those opportunities.
Okay, thank you so much, and I'm glad that you were here.
And I want to, Dr. Gritchwood, I want to thank you and the staff here and the faculty. They have been absolutely hospitable and supportive, and it was just been a wonderful, wonderful experience on my part.
Thank you.